Adam Soos here for Rebel News. You know, the Trudeau Liberals and the Singh NDP, they're radical environmentalists, and their WEF agendas, their World Economic Forum agendas, are ultimately what's behind this carbon tax.
So all those premiers that are busy complaining about the price on pollution, but not putting forward a concrete alternative that they think would be better for their communities, are just playing politics.
You know, these folks, they aren't shy at all about jet setting around the world from conference to push their radical agendas. And you know, I was thinking to myself, it would be pretty great if normal Canadians, normal Albertans like us, well, if we could take to the skies too in order to share our perspectives. And that, well, you know, that gave me an idea. You guessed it, folks. It's Rebelcopter time. Well, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is once again time for the Rebelcopter, and this time it is donning clear messages to axe the tax, and on the other side of this beauty, to spike the hike, sending a clear message to Ottawa elites that Albertans and Canadians, well, frankly, they're just trying to get by, just trying to pay their bills, and this time around, they won't stand for it. Guys, we just landed quickly to take a little bit of a break, and while I had a moment to speak to you without the chopper wash drowning us out, I just wanted to share the similarities between this time and the last time we were out in the Rebelcopter. And I must say, the last time we were out, it was around the Freedom Convoy, the Coutts blockade, and flying around today, seeing some of these protests from above, I must say that the energy is very similar. But there is a difference this time around. You see, the Freedom Convoy and Coutts, despite what the naysayers may say, it changed things. Because this time around, the people aren't alone in opposing federal mandates and municipal mandates. They aren't standing alone against municipalities, provinces, and the federal government. In fact, 7 provinces are now in line with the people opposing the carbon tax hike. And I suggest that that is because of the efforts of those who participated in the Freedom Convoy and at Coutts. And I must say, despite the detractors and the critics and the people who say that protesting, well, it doesn't really make a difference, it did make a difference. And I'd suggest that there's no reason to think it won't make a difference this time around as well. Well, I'm very happy now to be joined by Matt Hassan, the helicopter owner and pilot. I guess my first question for you is sort of what inspired you, what motivated you to get this sort of clear message adorned on both sides of your helicopter and take to the skies of Alberta today?
I've been watching what went on in our federal government for quite some time now there, and I'm an owner of a construction company, and the fuel, the carbon tax, it was noted to some that the carbon tax that'll be burning in this thing will be expensive today. It's not near as expensive as the 50, 60, 70 pieces of construction equipment we're running on a daily basis. So it's hurting us. Those costs follow up through the developers follow up through to the homeowners. The homeowners are getting the brunt of the cost.
And how much of that? I mean, obviously, lots of people will criticize and condemn that it happened during the last protest. It's going to happen this time around again. But how much of this is really about people just taking a stand and normal people trying to pay their bills, being able to afford to heat their house and put fuel in their car, not having to choose between one or the other?
I think we got into this situation by not saying anything. So I encourage my family, I encourage my friends to speak up. And I'm fortunate enough to have a billboard such as this that we can get the word out maybe a little quicker.
Well, it really was an absolutely beautiful day today in Alberta. The opportunity to go to the skies and look down on this beautiful province, check out the beautiful city of Calgary, and to really just understand that this is a place that is absolutely worth fighting for. And politicians that are pushing taxes and nickel and diming people to the point where they simply can't afford to stay, can't afford to survive, well, that is not right. And this this effort to stop the carbon tax that is being mounted right across the country, well, it genuinely matters. I want to thank Matt for taking us up in his helicopter. I know some people from the ground saw this. We got as close as we could to some of the protests. I will note that the RCMP did have some drones up, which sort of limited and restricted airspace. So there's no doubt the federal authorities are keeping an eye on these events. And I want to let them know we're going to be keeping an eye on these events too as they unfold, with many suggesting that they're going to be remaining protesting the carbon tax hike until the carbon tax is scrapped, absolutely. As always, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Soos.